All right, hello everybody. We're gonna do a little bit of an unboxing today. No idea what's inside of it, but I thought, hey, you know, it's the holidays, people are opening gifts, and you might as well get one too. Oh, well, this one's definitely for you guys. Let's see here. Oh, that's right. We're doing a giveaway today. As a huge thank you to you and to everyone subscribed, I reached 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year, which was insane. And so just a little bit of a gift from me to you, I will be doing a giveaway today. And the winner will be getting an official D&D book of their choice, but details about the giveaway will be at the end of the video. But speaking of the giving season, we're going to talk about holidays and how you can make holidays a little bit more unique in your games, so that it's just as impactful to your players as they would be sitting at a Thanksgiving dinner table or unwrapping presents under the Christmas tree. But we're gonna have some fun with it. Hello Acolytes, welcome to the Cleric Corner. My name is Riker, and here we talk about all things Dungeons and Dragons, tapping into our higher powers to create worlds that are more unique and stories that are more impactful. When implementing holidays into your D&D games, it's important to know why you would do that in the first place. But despite many reasons, in my opinion, it comes down to three things: immersion, pacing, and fun. Holidays make your world feel alive and breathing, and events and festivities help your players feel immersed into the game. It helps them experience culture and tradition in real time. It's the old story trope of show them, not tell them. With pacing, it helps break up the monotony of travel or the intenseness of dungeons or big BBEG fights. With festivities, it allows your players to take a break, take some downtime, and participate in things that they might not have otherwise been able to. They also create narrative elements that add some real contrast into your storyline. And on the DM side, you might think that holidays would be more work to prepare for, but personally, if you have a city with a holiday or festivities going on, your players will naturally gravitate to that one thing, creating more of a linear track instead of preparing an entire city because you have no idea what your players would do, if that makes sense. Players naturally want to go where the action is. So when you inevitably do implement festivities or holidays or other party-like functions, you want to do it right. You'll want to make it memorable and interesting enough that your players will talk about it for weeks to come and maybe even want to go back and experience it again. So here are my top 10 picks for making holidays better in your D&D games. Number 1, tie into a backstory. Nothing gets players more invested and interested in something besides it being about themselves. This could even start at character creation, where you ask them about their hometown and say, okay, what kind of parties go on? What do you celebrate? What do you honor? What's your traditions like? Or even customs that they observed or missed that they had heard of. And when they're included in that creative process, they have a sense of ownership just as much as you do, so they want to see it through. Or you can just have it surprise them, and at one point they come into a city and they're throwing a party for the cleric's god. Or they're using the rogue's quested item in some sort of sacred tradition. Or you walk into a city and there is a tinkerer's festival, so your artificer gets so excited because they get to fulfill their dream of becoming an inventor. And not that these tips are in any particular order, but for me as a DM, there's a reason why this tip is number 1. It's important to make my world, our world, as much as you can. Number 2, world building. Just as much as you promote your player's story, you get to promote the world's story as a whole. Lean hard into the feel of your setting to create that immersion. Ask yourself what part of your setting has not yet been expressed or needs to be expressed more. If you need to introduce how the second moon of your world influences lycanthropy, you can have a village that celebrates when those 2 moons eclipse. Or show the dynamic between classes when the lower class gets to throw tomatoes at the upper class for a day. Or you come across a town that celebrates the day where they won a battle on an island, but somehow that island doesn't appear on any maps. And obviously you would know best what to put in these holidays or festivities, but do more than just have drinking games. Continue to tell the elaborate story. Number 3, make it magical. For some reason, these people have reason to celebrate, enact, or worship something. Add a little bit of mysticism and awe by adding a magic phenomena. Perhaps on a solstice, a silvery wind comes through town, prohibiting sleep. Perhaps in another town, every 3 months, the stars in the sky blink out for an hour. You can even use the magical phenomena tables in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, giving statistical and mechanical changes to what's going on for your players when they're there. This would add some d20 rolls when there could previously not be any. And it makes sense in your world that in some places the lines between planes might be very thin. So don't just have your players do different things, have them feel different things. Number 4, add a quest. Naturally, with magical phenomena and talking about how your characters like to be where the action is, they're more than likely going to investigate those things. And of course, this might depend on the pacing of your game if they are ready to jump into another adventure. But if your players are curious and they're rearing to go, allow them room to explore some of the things that you introduced. Maybe the silvery winds are coming from a dragon that just came out of hibernation. It's awake and it's hungry. Perhaps the hour of darkness every 3 months is the city merging with the Shadowfell, and the players need to fight something off and get back before the hour is up. And giving players quests this way, to me, is a lot better than them just going into town and seeing what's on the job board. Number 1, it's a bit more magical, and number 2, less work for you. Number 5, include activities. Even if the pace isn't quite ready for another adventure quite yet, allow them to roll some dice and do some unique things that, again, they wouldn't normally get to do. Pie eating contests, dance-offs, wild hog riding, target practice. Make it a sport with some sort of ball or hoop where this party is competing against another party. Or even something more intimate where your players have to go out and find a gift that they give to the other players to celebrate the day of the white elephant. Or it's a city-wide hunt for a golden egg that the mayor hid somewhere around the city. When looking for activities that you want to do, maybe take a look at your players' capabilities and what they're proficient in, possibly even some things that they haven't got to use in a while, and use them as inspiration. Your players will want to participate in the things that they're good at, so just complement those skills. Number 6, goodie bags. Everyone likes a takeaway item. Give your players something to remember the holiday and think back to this moment in the future. And this could be outside the game or inside the game, but maybe they got to keep the golden egg and it hatches a golden goose later down the road. Or they got to make something at the Tinkerer's Festival and it may not work quite right when they try to use it later. And these could be full magic items or just gag gifts that your players could find some creative use for in the future. Or it could be as simple as religious symbols or component pouches or drawings from the village's kids. Even a little something is better than nothing. Number 7, aesthetic. Even the delivery of a gift is a gift in and of itself. When you look at holidays today, you see the bright pastels and eggs of Easter. You see the reds and the greens of Christmas. Maybe you smell wrapping paper, or you hear Mariah Carey for the 15th time. Or you have Halloween with its dark tones and scary costumes. Ask yourself in this holiday, how do you explore the 5 senses? Are there smells like gingerbread? Are there tastes like chocolate, like Valentine's Day? What are the colors that represent your holiday? What kind of music is playing? How are the houses decorated? Give them an ambience and experience that complements the tone. This does the grunt work for your players' imagination to allow them to be as fully immersed as they can. Number 8, make things weird. You have no obligation to make things make sense, so don't be afraid to alter some expectations. In our world, somehow, some way, the holiday that represents the birth of Christ somehow translates into a fat man that delivers presents to people with the help of elves. And then somehow Halloween, which started as a festival of warding off ghosts, has turned into sexy cats and sexy nurses. And don't even get me started on Easter. You could have a day that celebrates rain after a famine, but for some reason they parade giant pink dragon piñatas through the streets for an hour. So especially if this holiday that you create has been around for a long time, don't be afraid to add some symbolism to it. Or you can just leave it entirely up to interpretation. If you wanted to take it a step further, you could even introduce monsters that have a flavor of real world holidays. And these would fit well in your holiday one-shots that you do for Christmas, Halloween, or whatever. Perhaps you run a Halloween game and instead of the iconic beholder, you have a giant pumpkin with a singular cutout eye with vine stalks coming out with tinier pumpkins on the end of those. Perhaps you fight a giant chocolate ooze for Valentine's Day. Perhaps your dragons are giant piñatas, your mimics are wrapped presents, and your trees are tree ants. Number 9, Change it up. Every holiday is different, so make elephants that make it different. Does this holiday happen yearly, or does it happen monthly, or even weekly? Perhaps only certain races or certain religious affiliates get to participate in this holiday and your players need to sneak in. Is the holiday sanctioned by the government, or is it celebrated in spite of them? If you give gifts, what if it's just finding and giving the prettiest pine cone, or actually giving someone the worst possible gift you can think of? Is this holiday based on truth or hearsay? Is it celebrated by just your region or your city, or by the entire world? Is the holiday required to celebrate or free to choose? Shout out to Dale Kingsmill in her holiday video, where she actually has some question tables that you can use with some of these questions. Number 10, use inspiration. Some of the greatest holidays ever have been ones that have actually existed. Simply copy and paste holidays throughout history, or take elements from some that you find interesting. A holiday called Imbolc, if I pronounce that correctly, from Celtic history, we find a Groundhog Day-esque holiday with a hag, where at the end of a long summer, depending on how much wood this hag gathers, depends on how long and harsh the winter will be. Will Mabsend is a Welsh holiday where you'll have men do blindfolded wheelbarrow racing and women having grinning matches. Old Clem's Night created fireworks on anvils and went door to door asking for alcohol. Or St. Mark's Eve, where you get to sit on your front porch and watch ghosts travel through town. And I say you can also find some inspiration from things already in D&D. You can just open up the monster manual and find some inspiration there. So whether it be this holiday season or any time throughout the year, I hope that you got enough to play with and enough ideas to give your players the gift of a holiday celebration in your Dungeons & Dragons games. And now for the giveaway rules. I will be using Rafflecopter for this giveaway, which will be linked both in the description and in a pinned comment. If you click on that link, it will bring you to a page that will allow you to view some of my other social media platforms for multiple entries into the giveaway. And I just fully fleshed out my Patreon, so if you want to go check that out and possibly support me in that way, that would be great. The contest itself will start as soon as this video goes live, and it will go until the 9th of January, so 2 weeks. At that point, I will announce the winner, but I should add that due to personal financial constraints, obviously, that I cannot ship outside of the US. But if those individuals outside of the US does have a D&D Beyond account, I can send you a book there. But it's all the same, whoever wins gets a copy of their choice of an official D&D book. Again, I just want to express my appreciation. I can't thank you enough for helping me eventually get to my goal of doing this full time. It's still a ways away, of course, but this is a huge step. I hope you all have an amazing new start to the new year. But in the meantime, go out there and spread the good word of D&D and make the world a better place, both on and off your tables. See you in the next one.